True intimacy begins long before any physical moment, and it grows from the quiet spaces where trust is built one conversation at a time. When a woman feels emotionally safe, she allows herself to relax into the deeper layers of connection that make any shared moment meaningful. Emotional safety is created through consistency, showing up when it matters, listening when she speaks, and respecting her boundaries without hesitation. A man who invests in emotional safety doesn't rush, pressure, or assume. He guides with presence and patience. This kind of presence tells her that she is valued beyond physical attraction, that her mind and emotions matter. When she feels understood, her confidence rises and she becomes more open to expressing what she enjoys and what she needs. Emotional safety transforms interactions because it removes fear, tension, and uncertainty. It invites authenticity, honesty, and closeness, allowing her to feel grounded in the moment. And when she feels grounded, her responses become natural, genuine, and deeply connected. That is the foundation upon which true intimacy grows. Emotional safety is built through communication that is gentle yet confident, reassuring yet strong. A woman feels safe with a man who listens without interrupting and responds with consideration rather than ego. She thrives when her thoughts are not minimized, her feelings not dismissed, and her vulnerabilities not judged. When communication flows openly, she no longer feels the need to guard herself, and this openness becomes the heart of deeper connection. Simple actions, holding eye contact, speaking with warmth, showing appreciation, signal that she is seen and valued. Consistent honesty also reinforces emotional safety. When a man speaks truthfully, she can trust his intentions and trust the space between them. This trust softens her, helps her release tension, and allows her to embrace closeness with more confidence. Emotional safety also grows when a man communicates with clarity, avoiding mixed signals or emotional distance. That clarity sends a message: you are safe with me emotionally and mentally. And with that message, she becomes more willing to meet him in deeper intimacy. A major part of emotional safety is understanding her comfort cues, her body language, tone, reactions, and responses. A man who is attentive, not forceful, notices these cues and adjusts with compassion. He values her comfort above his expectations, showing her that her emotional experience is important. When she senses this respect, her guard naturally lowers, and her willingness to open up increases. Emotional safety allows her to feel that she can express her needs without fear of offending or disappointing him. It empowers her to communicate openly, knowing she will be heard rather than judged. A man who respects her cues becomes someone she can trust not only with her words, but also with her vulnerability. Recognizing her emotional state creates a rhythm of connection that feels effortless rather than strained. It shifts the interaction from something transactional to something transformative. And in that transformation, she feels protected, supported, and fully present. Emotional safety also grows through a man's maturity, how he handles stress, frustration, and disagreement. A woman feels safe when he communicates during conflict with calmness rather than anger, clarity rather than withdrawal. His emotional stability becomes the anchor that reassures her she can express herself without triggering unpredictable reactions. She becomes more open when she sees that he can hold space for serious conversations without shutting down or becoming defensive. This emotional maturity tells her she is not alone in navigating challenges, that he is willing to work through problems with patience. Emotional maturity builds a foundation of reliability. She knows she can count on him in moments of uncertainty. When a man responds thoughtfully instead of impulsively, she interprets that as protection, not in a physical sense, but in an emotional one. That protection creates a sense of belonging, a feeling that she can trust this connection to last. And when she trusts the longevity of the bond, she embraces it more fully and more fearlessly. To deepen emotional safety, a man must also cultivate self-awareness, understanding his emotions, triggers, and needs. A self-aware man creates a stable emotional environment because he does not project unresolved issues onto her. His awareness allows him to reflect instead of react, to understand instead of assume. This steadiness allows her to fully relax into the connection, knowing she won't be responsible for managing his emotional fluctuations. Emotional safety blossoms when both people feel free to be themselves without fear of misinterpretation or rejection. A man who is grounded invites her into that groundedness, offering emotional steadiness that calms her spirit. She feels safe when she knows he takes responsibility for his own feelings instead of blaming her or expecting her to fix him. That independence combined with compassion makes her trust him even more deeply. And in that trust, she finds the freedom to connect with her whole heart, without hesitation, without fear, without pretending. Consent is one of the strongest demonstrations of respect, maturity, and confidence a man can show, and it sets the tone for a deeper, safer connection. When a woman knows that her comfort is the priority, her defenses soften, her trust rises, and she feels empowered to participate fully without fear or hesitation. Consent isn't a robotic checklist. It is an ongoing, caring dialogue where both people feel equally valued and equally free to guide the moment. A confident man understands that asking, "Does this feel good?" or "Is this okay for you?" does not weaken the atmosphere, it strengthens it. These questions communicate emotional intelligence, presence, and leadership, showing that he prioritizes her comfort above his assumptions. Consent creates a mental space where she feels protected, not pressured, and appreciated rather than objectified. This emotional security heightens the connection because she feels her voice matters and her boundaries are honored. And when boundaries are honored, trust grows effortlessly. That trust becomes the foundation of closeness that expands naturally without force or tension. Consent is also about reading her signals, her expressions, her tone, the energy she gives, and the pace she seems comfortable with. A man who pays attention to these subtle cues is showing emotional attunement, which strengthens connection more than any technique could. When she feels seen and understood through his attentiveness, she knows she is with someone who prioritizes her well-being, not just the moment itself. This awareness shows emotional leadership, the kind of leadership that makes her feel safe enough to express her preferences honestly. When she senses discomfort and he notices it without her needing to verbalize it, she realizes that she is with a man who truly cares. That realization deepens trust and encourages her to communicate even more openly. Consent is not only about verbal yes, it also lives in body language, reactions, and the emotional atmosphere. A perceptive man creates safety by responding to her signals with patience rather than pushing past them. In that patience, she feels valued in the most meaningful way. The foundation of consent is communication, and communication is where genuine confidence comes alive. A man who asks instead of assuming shows that he understands the value of her comfort and the importance of mutual participation. This kind of communication is powerful because it removes guesswork, uncertainty, and emotional tension, replacing them with clarity and partnership. Such clarity helps her relax because she no longer feels the pressure to navigate silence or interpret unclear intentions. When communication is open, she is free to say what she enjoys, what she prefers, and what she wants more of, without fear of judgment. This freedom turns the interaction into a shared experience rather than something one-sided or unbalanced. A confident man understands that communication is not an interruption, it is connection. It enhances the moment because it ensures both people are aligned, comfortable, and emotionally present. That alignment creates harmony between them, allowing trust to expand with ease. And where trust expands, connection deepens in ways that feel natural, respectful, and uplifting. Consent also represents emotional responsibility, the ability to ensure that both people feel safe, heard, and respected throughout the connection. A man who leads with responsibility creates a space where she feels she can express herself honestly without fear of being dismissed. This feeling is rare and powerful. It builds a form of trust that cannot be rushed or faked. Emotional responsibility means he prioritizes her comfort just as much as his own, showing balance, thoughtfulness, and emotional steadiness. When she sees that he respects her boundaries, she becomes more willing to share her thoughts, preferences, and needs. This willingness is essential because it transforms the interaction into a shared exploration instead of a one-directional experience. Emotional responsibility also allows both people to move at a pace that feels natural, healthy, and mutually enjoyable. When the pace aligns with her comfort, she feels safe enough to be fully present. And when she is fully present, the connection becomes more meaningful and grounded. Consent is not only about what happens in the moment, but also about the emotional safety created before and after the moment. It includes checking in, offering reassurance, and being attentive to her comfort even when nothing is happening. This consistency shows her that consent is not a performance but a principle he truly lives by. When she knows her feelings will be respected tomorrow just as much as today, she relaxes into the connection with deeper trust. This consistency communicates that she is valued as a whole person, not just in isolated moments. A man who practices consent beyond the moment becomes someone she can rely on emotionally, someone she feels proud to open up to. That reliability builds a long-term sense of safety that strengthens emotional intimacy in profound ways. Consent, when practiced consistently, becomes a language of respect that shapes the entire relationship dynamic. And through that respect, both people feel uplifted, connected, and understood on a deeper emotional level. Presence is the quiet power that transforms ordinary moments into meaningful ones, because it shows her that you are not just there, you are truly with her. When a man is fully present, he is not distracted, not rushing, and not thinking about what should happen next. He is grounded in the moment, attentive to her emotions and energy. Presence is felt through eye contact, through the calmness in your breath, through the steadiness of your attention. It communicates that she is enough, that nothing else matters more than understanding her in that moment. A present man listens deeply, responds thoughtfully, and allows space for connection to unfold naturally. This presence reassures her that he is not comparing, judging, or performing. He is simply connecting. It removes pressure and creates a calm environment where she can relax into herself without fear. When she feels this level of attention, her trust expands effortlessly. And with that trust comes a deeper emotional openness that cannot be created through technique alone. Presence is powerful because it invites emotional transparency. She feels seen, heard, and valued beyond the surface level. A man who brings genuine presence pays attention to subtle shifts in her expression, her tone, the energy behind her words. These small signals tell him how she feels, what she needs, and how connected she is in that moment. This awareness helps him respond with empathy rather than assumption, which strengthens the emotional bond between them. Presence also means being patient, allowing the moment to unfold at a pace that feels comfortable instead of rushing toward a predetermined outcome. When she senses patience, she feels respected and understood, which helps her open up even more. A present man does not multitask with his attention, he focuses fully, demonstrating emotional maturity and care. This attention forms an unspoken language that tells her she is worthy of time and effort. And in that unspoken language, a deep and steady trust is born. To cultivate presence, a man must connect with his own internal state, his breathing, his intentions, and his emotional awareness. When he is grounded within himself, he can offer steadiness instead of tension, calmness instead of restlessness. This internal grounding allows him to respond intentionally rather than react impulsively, which builds emotional safety and closeness. Presence is not about perfection, it is about authenticity, showing up as a whole human being rather than trying to impress. When a man is emotionally centered, she feels his clarity and strength, and that clarity helps her relax and feel protected. A grounded presence allows both people to share a space where vulnerability feels natural instead of intimidating. When a man embraces presence, he becomes more attuned to the moment and less focused on expectations. This attunement creates a rhythm between them that feels effortless and sincere, and sincerity is what makes the connection meaningful. The absence of pressure brings a sense of balance and emotional comfort that strengthens the connection. When he listens with full attention, she feels that her words matter and that her presence is valued too. This mutual appreciation turns the moment into a shared experience rather than a one-sided one. Presence allows both people to feel aligned, connected, and understood. And this alignment creates a bond that feels strong, warm, and deeply human. In such a space, trust thrives naturally, without effort or force. A present man is also emotionally responsive. He adapts to the moment with empathy and awareness rather than sticking to a fixed idea of how things should go. He pays attention to her comfort level and adjusts with understanding, creating an atmosphere where she feels emotionally safe. This adaptability shows her that he values her feelings and is willing to move at her pace. When a man is responsive, she realizes she is free to express herself without fear of being ignored or misunderstood. This freedom builds authenticity between them because she knows he is not just physically present, but emotionally available. Emotional availability encourages deeper conversations, deeper trust, and deeper connection. It makes her feel that she can share her truth without hesitation. And when she feels free to be herself, the connection becomes richer, more meaningful, and more fulfilling. Presence is not about doing more, it is about being more attentive, more aware, more sincere in every moment they share. Connection grows when two people focus on understanding each other rather than performing for each other, because real closeness is built on authenticity. When a man releases the pressure to do things perfectly, he becomes more open to listening, observing, and responding to her naturally. She feels valued when he pays attention to her emotions, her reactions, and the subtle ways she expresses comfort or discomfort. This kind of awareness transforms the moment into a shared experience rather than a task to accomplish. When she senses that he is not trying to impress but to understand, she feels safe enough to express what she truly enjoys. That openness allows both people to relax into a rhythm that feels personal and meaningful. Connection deepens when he leads with curiosity instead of expectation, giving her space to participate willingly. A connection rooted in authenticity creates trust, warmth, and emotional closeness. And that closeness becomes the foundation for moments that feel natural, peaceful, and deeply fulfilling. Connection flourishes when a man embraces communication as a bridge rather than a barrier, using it to strengthen trust rather than interrupt it. When he asks gentle questions about her comfort or preferences, she feels included in the moment rather than secondary to it. This inclusion lets her know that her voice matters just as much as his, creating a sense of partnership. When she feels that partnership, she becomes more willing to share her needs without fear of judgment or embarrassment. This shared openness transforms the interaction into something balanced and mutual. Communication empowers her to trust the moment and trust him because she sees he is prioritizing understanding over assumptions. A man who communicates with clarity and calmness shows emotional maturity, which brings comfort to her mind and steadiness to her heart. When clarity replaces guesswork, confidence replaces hesitation. And with that confidence, she engages more freely, more joyfully, and more authentically. Connection becomes richer when he pays attention not only to her words, but to the emotions beneath them, responding with patience and understanding. A man who listens with intention creates a space where she feels respected and emotionally supported. She senses that her feelings are not an inconvenience, but an essential part of the moment. This understanding encourages her to stay present rather than retreat into uncertainty. Presence becomes effortless when she feels emotionally acknowledged, because acknowledgement strengthens trust. Trust grows when he responds with empathy rather than frustration, openness rather than impatience. These emotional qualities create an atmosphere where she feels safe to be herself without holding back. And when she is fully herself, the connection becomes deeper and more aligned. This alignment is the heart of meaningful intimacy because it brings both people closer emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. In that closeness, the moment transforms from something temporary into something memorable. Connection thrives when both people embrace vulnerability, allowing honesty to shape the moment rather than fear or insecurity. When a man shows vulnerability through sincerity, calmness, and openness, she feels invited to do the same. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is emotional courage that builds closeness and dissolves tension. She feels safe when he is real with her, when he is not hiding behind performance or pretending to be perfect. Realness helps her trust that he is emotionally available and willing to be present with her. When both people let go of self-protective walls, they create a shared emotional space that feels warm and grounding. The shared vulnerability deepens the connection by building understanding on both sides. Through that understanding, they create a bond that feels secure and supportive. And when a bond feels supportive, she naturally engages with more openness, confidence, and emotional clarity. Connection strengthens when he focuses on her emotional experience rather than rushing or controlling the moment, allowing everything to unfold organically. A man who moves with care, patience, and intention creates an emotional environment where she feels respected without pressure. This natural pacing allows her to stay relaxed, breathe deeply, and connect with the moment in a genuine way. She appreciates a man who is attentive, not hurried, someone who values quality of interaction over speed or outcome. This patience brings comfort to her mind and stability to her emotions, helping her remain grounded. When the moment unfolds gently, she feels free to express her feelings, her preferences, and her comfort level. This freedom is powerful because it turns the experience into a shared journey rather than a one-sided effort. A shared journey builds emotional closeness that lasts far beyond the moment. And in that lasting closeness, the connection becomes something meaningful, respectful, and deeply human.